Hello! Hello, my dear! Oh, good lord. We're kind of in shock. Yeah. But you know what time it is?
Styling in our dressing gowns, because it's
cold! We are recording this on November the, 16th?
Mm-hmm.
You guys will be watching this in late December. Hi. Just a heads up. The next video might be a little late because it'll probably be in early February instead of late January because we'll have a whole season of Doctor Who to watch when I get back from Panto! While you're watching this one and while you watch the last one, I'm in Pantoland. So this, like last year, is where our marathon kind of takes a bit of a backseat for a while because, you know, other stuff. But what a place to leave it in. We are alive. We are here at season 12 of Doctor Who. Welcome back to Doctor Who Review, where it's sort of a podcast, but we're sort of envisioned, because why not? I'm Chris.
I'm not Chris.
And we've hit
Tom. Wonders. I'm Lucy.
And I'm not Lucy.
I don't think I've ever said it.
I'm sure you haven't a couple
I'm
of them.
his husband.
Yeah, and you're my beard.
Yeah.
So it all works out. We're in season 12. You were, in the end, sad to see John go?
You make it sound like I didn't like him.
No, but considering when we started with John, we ended Pat started with John, you were very much in like, no, it won't be the same. Won't be the same. After 5 series, was it the same?
I'm so sorry. What did you say?
Oh my god, stop playing with the dog while we're recording.
Was it the same?
As losing Pat? Like,
no.
But did it feel way closer than you thought it would?
Yeah, but there was an excitement going in because I knew that I've got to remember my face is in shot, so I need to stop rubbing my face.
So I rub my face all the time, don't worry about it.
What was some? Oh yeah, there's an expectation with Tom, which I was very much looking forward to.
Hello.
So it was.
Is what he would say if he was here right now.
Yeah,
if he were alive today.
Yeah, it was sad because.
God, I hope he doesn't die between now and this going on.
Oh my god, no! Last time you said that person actually did die, didn't they?
I can't remember.
Sad face.
Hello.
Wow, that's a great light.
Don't kill me, I'm a Time Lord.
Can you please put that torch away? Good grief.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to see my several chins.
So the excitement of Tom, I do. So the excitement of Tom lessened the blow of losing John a bit, would you say? Yeah. Okay. Were you happy that there was some carryover characters, though, for our first story, which of course was Robot? Were you happy to have Benton? Not Benson. Benton, the Brigadier, and Sarah Jane carrying over into the story.
I'm always happy to see Benton. I'm not happy ever to see Benson.
Oh my god.
But I am always,
You're not going to be able to make that joke for much longer.
Always happy to see the Brigadier.
Brigadier. Every time he comes on screen for the first time during a story.
Because he is wonderful.
So them carrying over and Sarah Jane carrying over. Were you happy that they, for the first time, we kind of got, because obviously we didn't really get it properly with the 10th planet. Well, we did with the 10th planet. Actually, no, we did. Ben and Polly did carry from the 10th planet into Power of the Daleks, but obviously this is the first time where it's in full colour and all this, that and the other. Did it feel handy to have those 3 cross over with the Doctor?
Yes.
Okay. Did you like the fact the Brigadier just accepted it this time?
Yes.
Just like, well,
here we go again.
Again.
So I'm wrapping the dog up because it's Chilly Billy in here.
I'll fill in people with the plot of Robot while you put your brain back together.
I've got to say...
Robot, the Doctor's regenerated, but no time to dilly-dally! There's an organisation who are like sort of dealers in the idea of like world peace and geniuses ruling over everybody, and it's an exclusive club and it's very snobby, and Sarah Jane gives them some ultimate frickin' sass when she does like the beginning interview thing to try and get stuff for her article. And it turns out that they are using the technology of a Professor Kettlewell and using a robot he had developed, the K1, to cause some havoc and destruction.
Not the
K9. No relation. It steals a bunch of stuff from various places before to create like a disintegrator ray, and then it is complete. It is their soldier to remove obstacles in their way. But the Doctor has started to piece the pattern together, whilst at the same time Sarah Jane is dealing with it externally and learns a bunch of stuff herself.
Sneaky journalist.
And yeah, it's also the introduction of Harry Sullivan, Dr. Harry Sullivan, unit's medical officer.
Very random. Very. Oh, there you go.
Well, as we discussed a couple weeks ago, when you were like, what does Harry do really? I was like, well, they brought him in because they wanted to cast an older Doctor, older than John, go a bit closer to Bill Hartnell, and then they cast Tom Baker.
What's this sneaky snoot doing?
But Ian Martin was already cast. Harry's in the script, so Harry's there. And they certainly have some really fun interplay moments over the course of the series. Mm. And Harry's kind of old-fashioned attitude, even for the 70s, is quite amusing. Like, the way that they kind of keep knocking him down every time. He's like, oh, come on now, old girl.
Old girl.
And it's like, don't call me old girl. Like, that leads to some fun moments, but it was a thing of, like, you could totally do these stories with just the Doctor and Sarah Jane. Mm-hmm. Which, spoiler alert, they sort of correct next year.
I reckon.
So, yeah.
Because he was good.
He's a lot of fun. He's especially fun in this, because he's obviously, like, saying to the Doctor, like, right, I have no idea who this bugger is that they've brought to me, but he's unwell, and I need to make sure he's fighting fit, and this, that, and the other. And he's just having to put up with this raving lunatic who is... It's weird, because, like, the Doctor post-regeneration always acts a bit odd, doesn't he? Mm.
He's not quite with it yet.
But Tom kind of never stops acting odd. He just gets a little quieter after this story.
He does the jog.
Oh, I'm perfectly fit. Karate chops a brick.
Yep.
And then he jogs on the spot. And he's trying to prove how fit he is, so they do the jump rope, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's funny. That's charming.
All for the Doctor. Quick.
It did scare me.
And it's all one take from a certain point as well.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal work from Tom and Ian Martin there. That stuff's really fun. We fell in love with Professor Kettlewell's hair and beard combo.
Yes, he's very stereotypical, crazy scientist.
But a lovable character. Until the final part, when we realise that no, he isn't on this and has been the whole time. He's maybe not as bloodthirsty as the rest of them, but he's definitely an unscrupulous character.
Unscrupulous is a word that is good.
Our villains were quite good, because they were just nasty, horrible, up their own arse scientist types, which is...
She was very aggressive.
She was Sass McGrath. I think that's the thing as well. Sorry.
I'm not talking about Sarah Jane.
We've just had tuna pasta and the dog is licking probably the smell of garlic bread off my hand. In case you're wondering what that noise is. So...
She's got sleepy eyes, but she won't go to sleep. Sleep.
It's because she knows.
Sleep. Sleep.
Caliban knows.
This is not working.
It's doing the opposite.
Why are you so cute? Thank you. Oh,
what did you think of the K1?
I thought it looked great. I thought it really, really looked great.
Okay.
I like that he had
Surprised by that.
He had. Oh, God, be careful! Don't do backflips.
Or do. We can make a mint.
YouTube famous. What's the
Flip.
word? Viral.
Flip.
Or virus.
Flip. Change the battery.
Oh, it's not Christmas yet. What are we talking about? Oh yeah.
Doctor Bloody.
It's really distracting having the dog in here because she's just so darn cute. What's going on here? Oh, you got dirty nails. You need to clean your nails.
No.
Sorry, what? The video. No, the radio.
The runtime of this is going to be about 8 hours.
Sorry, robot.
K1, you like him?
Yeah.
Do you like his floppy arms?
I like that he questioned, he had real difficulty with the, do I kill human, do I help human?
Well, the Doctor tries to distract him when he's sent to kill him, doesn't he? By being like, what is your directive? Sir, protect humanity. And he's like, oh, well, I'm human, protect me. And it's like, no, you are a danger to humanity. You have been designated. And it's like, you can tell he's going, wait a minute, hang on. I think the voice is a good choice as well, weirdly. The fact that it's not overly robotic helps sell the fact that it is questioning what it's doing.
But the Doctor, you seem to forget, to distract the robot, put his hat on the robot's face, and that was very amusing.
And it's like, oh, it worked. Except it didn't.
And didn't he have, like, extender arms? Because he smashed, like, a window or something.
No, it's just got his claws are on the end of those little pipes.
He's got claws.
Pipe wrists, and you can hand him the gun, and his wrists sag even more. So there is that. Oh God. And last but certainly not least, what do you think of Tom?
I love him. He's so cute. No, I really enjoyed it.
Lucy crochets and does other work during Doctor Who.
I work when I'm not working.
And during Robot, and I really didn't think it was going to be this story, but during Robot, you stopped what you were doing on numerous occasions in scenes where it was just Tom getting up to mischiefs. You had to watch him.
Yeah.
Which says a lot about his performance.
Yeah. I thought, every time there's a new Doctor, which has not been that many yet, I've kind of gone, oh, okay, this is different. I've mentioned this before, I'm not good with change. I hate change.
She doesn't even like change. She doesn't even give change.
I don't have any change. So I usually struggle a little bit to connect, and same with companions. But with Tom, it was just I've got soft hands, so I can't click. Oh, there we go.
Oh, jazz click. Just clicked. Is that what we're getting at here?
Yeah, and I just really liked him straight away. The only problem is, the costume was so big. Not Tom, sorry, the robot.
Yeah.
Was so big that the guy tripped over a few times, which I thought was highly amusing.
Not the worst effect in the story, of course. The worst effect of the story is the Barbie doll, when the K1 expands to a ginormous size and picks up Sarah Jane. You're remembering now, are you? Because there's some really good chroma key use in this that's pretty effective for the time.
Like
when he shrinks into the street and stuff and everything like that. That looked really good.
The green screen is definitely getting better. Definitely. But that Barbie, wow. That was very funny.
There you go.
That was another moment where you were looking at me as it happened.
Oh, it's amazing because it's like King Kong.
I've seen that story.
King Kong, like 50 years prior, nails it.
Yeah.
And then this
so Barbie
screws it right up. So
I had seen it though.
Robot, Tom's debut.
Because
you'd already seen this one before.
Well, maybe not all of it, but the Doctor Who experience.
You'd seen the K1 robot, absolutely. You'd met him
at the Doctor Who experience. Yeah. I remember in when I went the first time I went was when it was in Manchester. No, that's not. That was the
that was the Doctor Who experience. No, the Doctor Who exhibit came to Manchester in like 2007.
It wasn't the same. You didn't get a show.
It didn't have the classic monsters. It was all series 1, 2, and 3 monsters in that one.
I remember there being or maybe it was the Doctor Who experience then.
Yeah, we saw the experience twice. We saw it in London and then Cardiff.
Yeah, and I remember going, oh,
so there's different layouts.
Thing. And even then, when I watched it, I'm so sorry. I'm just not one of those people. I was like, oh, it's got her in it. Really annoying. I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. Would you rather me not be myself? I'm just accept me for who I am.
Sarah Jane hating
Philistine. I don't hate her.
Well, it's time to send you to space then, you git. To the Ark in space! Not to be confused with the Ark, aka Dodo sneezes, and we pop back 100 years later and there's a giant monoid statue.
She gave the future the flu.
That was a great story. That was a great story.
It was a
Put them in the security kitchen!
I'm in charge. I'm wearing the sash.
Ark in space, we don't have the monoids, we have the Widden. And we have some pretty scary stuff in this one. Namely, when What's-His-Face gets semi-possessed by the consciousness of the Wirren. And it's just really eerie, the idea that it's like, no, you screwed us over, so we're going to kill this colony. We're going to kill all this colony and we're going to find a planet and we're going to populate it. Screw you. Because Ark in Space... Oh, God. Ark in Space is... the TARDIS takes them to an Ark in Space. It's a spaceship, it's a satellite that is performing its trip, taking a load of humans who are in suspended animation. And I think the explanation of suspended animation and how that works is really good in the first episode, the way they kind of spell it out. Like, if you're a kid and you'd never heard that concept before, by the end of this you'd be like an expert in it. That was pretty cool. But it
did make me think of that episode of The Simpsons where comic book guy has...
the collector.
The collector of all them in, like, Ziploc bags. Like, really, really big
Here
ones.
upon the wall between Doctor Who and Yasmin Bleeth. And which Doctor is it in that?
It's Tom Baker!
There you go.
Not Xena.
Yeah. We have that figure downstairs in packaging.
We do, and she's still in her packaging.
She's called Lucy Lawless, not Xena, even though she's dressed as Xena.
She's still in her packaging.
Of course she is. Of course she is, next to our Weird Al Yankovic one.
Who's still in his... We
Pagany.
need a Mark Hamill one.
We wanted a Mark Hamill. You see, the thing about that is...
I'm here to talk about spring. Oh, to The Simpsons.
The
We've got
forks!
off topic then.
Use the forks! Oh. So...
Such a funny episode, I'm sorry.
So the Outer Space, Harry gets taken along with him. The Doctor and Sarah Jane kind of play a prank on him at the end of the last one. They're like, come along. And then he gets out here. We don't see the interior of the TARDIS this series at all.
We don't.
But we see Harry's reaction as he spills out and he's like, the hell was that? Like, he's completely
Does he do the
confused.
classic thing of, it's bigger on the inside?
I don't know if he says those exact words. I can't remember. But
I don't remember.
he's absolutely befuddled. And they arrive here and they see these humans suspended animation, but there is evidence of something that's leaving like a green entrail. Well, a green trail, a green entrail being tested.
Oh my god, no!
And episode 1's cliffhanger
Doctor,
is
no.
it Harry opens up that cabinet near the stasis pods and a giant fucking bug falls out. And it's the cliffhanger, and the next week we find out that it's not leaping at him, it's dead. They found a dead husk of one of these creatures. The Willen, who are... How do I put this? Their design is great. They look really cool. And then you see them move. Do you remember what they looked like? Big mosquitoes.
Yes.
But the abdomen was the bottom, and that's where the actors were shuffling around.
Oh.
Like, had they not moved, had we just seen the corpse of one, and had we maybe seen one in the control room, in the thingy room, where it's all, and just kind of leering, that would have been really spooky.
Yeah.
But then we see them shuffling around like little flipping fools. The crew are... This is a personal preference thing. The whole, like, we have no need for that sort of... Like, we have no need for that jargon. What is the word you use? I find that really annoying. I get the idea that it's, like, centuries later and these are...
They're, like, the prime...
Yeah, because they talk about... What do they call the others? They call them... I can't remember what they call them now, but they refer to the Doctor, Harry and Sarah Jane as... No, they call them something... Yeah, nice callback. No, they call them... They call them something like the it's not the commoners, but something like that, where you're like, huh... And then they don't get slang or inflections, and you're like, this is... Okay, I just find that annoying personally, because I'm sort of like, oh, I immediately hate those kinds of characters. Maybe it's the very northern, like, working class part of me, but I'm just like, piss off. Piss off. But I think the actors play it very well. I think the way that the romance angle is sort of suggested, and the way that's played, like losing people and all this, they do a really good job with it.
Yeah.
But of course, like the scene everyone wants us to mention is the one where everyone goes for the shit. No.
Oh my god!
The scene everyone wants us to mention watching this now, because like me, you are a pedant, is the bit where he's just monologuing about human ingenuity and like, look, like what the hell are you capable of, like the human race and the Homo sapiens. That bit. Which says they're an indomitable species. Like, what would they think of, like projecting themselves across the stars? Like, what will they think of next? And it's like, yeah, sure.
Is that a thing that people are...
People always call back to that as one of Tom's sort of like most interesting scenes, like interesting bits of dialogue, because it's the Doctor for the first time, really, outside of some suggestions that he's fond of Earth in the Third Doctor's era. It's the first time the Doctor is just like, it's a masturbatory monologue about how much he thinks humans are really special. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it gets referenced quite a bit when people talk about the Doctor's relationship with Earth and whatnot. And unlike the Third Doctor, of course, this Doctor he's kind of short with people. He doesn't suffer fools, but he also plays a fool. And unlike John, who's just sort of like, get on with it, man! Like, Tom's like, I'm going to stop for a minute and just talk about how flipping amazing humans are. Isn't this great? And a lot of people say that's the moment to them where they're like, oh, there he is, he's arrived. I'd argue that Tom is probably the only Doctor who arrives fully formed, but fair enough.
This is the dog's comfort, not mine.
This is a risk. Please be very careful. Please don't kick the table. Oh my god. It's a good job we're doing this on camera, because if we did this on audio, people are like, what are you two going on about? Well, they teleport down to Earth, which is apparently a barren wasteland.
Oh, wait!
To make... Oh?
Wait! So, did you enjoy this story?
I love the arc in space. I think it's great.
I have seen this.
It's the start of an arc.
Anyway,
Not always in space.
I have seen this one.
Right.
When I was a young'un, because I've talked previously that my mum and dad watched Doctor Who and it was on UK Gold or whatever.
Oh, I know what we're going for, yes.
And I watched it, and as a kid I was like, that's just bubble wrap on somebody's arm. That's so stupid. I didn't really talk like that. I'm just being dramatic.
You talk like that now.
Oh my god, it's got bubble wrap.
It's covered bubble wrap, that's stupid.
I've never speak like that. Don't insult me. No offence to people who have that accent. Yeah, and as an adult, I was like, wow, that's just bubble wrap on that guy's arm. Yeah. I couldn't not see it.
It is one of those where it's like, you get what it's going for.
Definitely.
But bubble wrap is such a distinct prop.
Yeah, and you just painted it green.
Yeah.
Did you run out of
other
funding?
Things?
What happened there?
What it be?
So I have seen that. We also have the book, because I bought it for my mum, and it somehow ended up in our house. Thanks, Mum.
Yeah, it's on that shelf up there with the other targets, but it's one of those big hardback ones, so it doesn't fit in chronologically with them in a way that looks aesthetically pleasing. So it's toward the back,
and also it's beaten as heck.
Yes, but that means it's been loved.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Speaking of loved, this is one of the oldest Doctor Who DVDs I have in my collection, as in one of the earliest ones I got. Because I got the Bred for War box set as a present when I was younger.
Scary.
We've already watched one story from it, but this is a sequel to The Ark in Space, because they go down, they transmat down to Earth to check ahead. Mm-hmm. The Doctor volunteers himself, Harry and Sarah, to be like, why not? Isn't this exciting? Like, we're going to be the first to go there and check that it's breathable and everything, let's go down.
And they go down there and they're like, oh, this is where we can go
people. Like, well, he's telling them that and they're like, no, shut up. And he's like, yeah, no, honestly, this is where it would have been.
What?
But it's also a sequel to The Time Warrior from the start of last series, because this is the Sontaran Experiment. It is two things. One, it is a straightforward story with a clear antagonist, clear stakes, and straightforward, just concise storytelling. Which means that the second thing it is bloody short.
Very short.
50 minutes, 2 episodes.
It doesn't feel... So, I mean, some Doctor Who stories are like, oh, this is very long. You could have told this in, like, half an hour. But
this one's like, we'll do you one better. We'll tell you in 50 minutes.
There's so much happening, but not much happening.
So there's a crew from one of the... I can't remember the terminology, but one of the common ships and colonies and whatnot. I've already arrived there several weeks before... And they're distraught and petrified because their numbers have been picked off one by something that is in the area that has been capturing them. The monster that lives in the caves has been capturing them and torturing them. Some have died, some have gone missing. There are traps in the area, like there's a whole thing with this ditch that's been specifically positioned so that people will fall into it and presumably... injure themselves so that something will come and get them later. So we meet the crew, who were all South African, which was interesting.
Oh, yeah, they were.
By the end of it, we learn that the captain, the main one, is a traitor who has been dealing with the monster to allow the experiments to continue for his own safety and everything.
See, I don't think...
Which is pretty horrific, which results in that bit where it keeps turning the weight up on the thing and it's going to crush him.
And they're trying to
they're having to hold it up because he's testing their strength. Because the creature is testing humans. It's like, right, we're going to set up. So when more of them come, we're going to herd them like cattle and they're going to help us in our mission. Which is the war.
A classic story.
The war with the Rutan host. Because it's a Sontaran. Who Sarah Jane immediately calls Lynx.
Yeah.
And Steyer, Field Marshal Steyer, is like, who? you must have met one of us before. Oh, you're just presuming I'm Lynx because we all look alike. To which we went, no, you don't. This mask is completely bloody different from Lynx. Yeah. Lynx has the brown skin with the facial hair and the really subtle use of makeup and the smaller mouth. And this guy's got a big grey head, a big wide mouth, giant cartoon brows.
Yeah.
Which come back later in the series with a different alien design.
Just the brows.
Just the brows. So, what was that, June?
That was a little pitchy.
Thank you. Just the brows.
Better.
Thank you. But it is the same actor, and he is licking his lips up a treat.
I find that very disturbing.
This one's pretty straightforward. Like I said,
okay.
there's some cool ideas. The idea that Sontaran's like, oh, you're one of the female of the species, right? I know I'm not going to learn anything about your strength because you are weaker than the male. And she's like, oh, piss off. It's like, so I'm going to learn about your mind and your psychology. And he uses like this wavelength thing on her to like make her see scary shit and experiment with her fear.
Oh yeah, like the
manacles,
water or the leather.
The manacles.
Lava even.
The manacles.
Is it even
the manacles
lava?
Become snakes, and then the earth around her starts to bubble like it's quicksand or mud,
right?
And it starts to rise up to cover her.
Not leather.
And I know what you're going to say. I think Liz Sladen plays that really bloody well. If I was a child, I'd be terrified for her.
She is good in this one.
Harry's great in this, popping around. He actually gets to bring his doctorate into it.
Yeah.
He finds the prisoner who's been kept there has not been physically harmed, but has just been left.
Which is awful.
Because the Sontaran wants to see how long a human can survive without water.
Wow.
Grim as hell. And Tom gets knocked out a fair bit, carted around, and oh my god, the Doctor, stunt double, has a prolonged fight sequence with the Sontaran to the death. Does the fight end with the probic vent being hit? No, it doesn't. He sends Harry into the Sontaran ship, which this is a toy of, same one, same door. Sends him in to tinker around with stuff inside the Sontaran ship, so that the atmospheric stuff in it, so that it'll weaken the Sontaran, because it needs more of its own kind of atmosphere to survive, because of the probic vent or whatever. He weakens it, so it goes into his ship to kind of like gather his strength, but the stuff in there is completely different, and it starts to choke him, and then he comes outside, collapses on the floor, and melts. Remember that? Remember his head just melting in on itself? Yeah. But you never thought you'd see a Sontaran do that at some point, because that was gross.
What is this dog doing?
I don't know. Distracting you from talking about bloody Doctor Who.
You have feet on
oh my God.
4 different surfaces. What? Sorry.
Did you like the fact that he had a computer bank in the rocks, like it was fucking Final Fantasy or something, and he was reporting back to a Sontaran?
I've never played Final Fantasy.
Alright, insert name of sci-fi game where there's a computer in the rocks.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, I thought it was very brutal. I didn't like the robot that he had, though, that was like a scout thing.
Yes, that thing!
That would not survive on a flat
It was
road.
like an angle poise. It was like a tease maid meets a lamp.
What's an angle poise?
So the bracket, the hinge you have for a lamp. I think it looked like an angle poise.
No, I actually thought it was a kind of... No, never mind. I'm not going to say it because that makes me sound stupid.
You already did.
Oh, Hacker the dog. You make me think things.
What did you think of the Harry Potter premiere, Hacker? I have little to no opinion.
That's really the bit of a lamp. Are you serious?
Angle poise.
An angle poise.
An angle poise, the bracket thing, the hinge, yeah. And that's what... Because Phil said it because he couldn't think of anything and he saw a lamp. And I remember that block of where the props of the monitor were and everything, like Claire and whatnot would sit near.
What kind of people would we be if Phil wasn't in our lives?
Saner. What do you think of the Sontaran Experiment?
It was fine.
Cool.
It was fine. Serviceable. Yeah, it was very quick.
Cool ideas. For the first time ever, maybe one more part would have been
exactly.
Cool.
That's what I'm saying. It's usually 1 too many or 2 too many. This one was 1 too short.
It was 4 too short compared to our next story. Now, they teleport back up to the Ark, or at least they plan to, and instead get pulled off course by the Time Lords, making their first interference in his life since they sent him on random missions during John's 3rd and 4th year.
Yes.
And maybe the 2nd, I can't bloody remember. So the Doctor and Sarah Jane and Harry are brought to a battlefield, and he's told by a Time Lord that he's going to help them. The Time Lords have foreseen an era in which the Daleks will be the supreme beings in the universe, subjugating and enslaving and eradicating lots of other races. And the Time Lords have decided, even though they don't interfere, they don't want this to happen. So they send the Doctor back to the dawn of their creation during the Skaro battles between the Khaleds and the Thals. And he's told, basically, here's is it the time ring, whatever it is, the bracelet.
The bracelet.
Here's the time ring, and
time bangle.
I'm sure it's called the time ring, isn't it, in the story? So he's saying, even though it's a, but he gives it to him.
The time wrap, one of those you can just go watch, and it goes bleep.
Time snapback.
That's it.
So
snapback isn't that a hat?
He gives it to him, and he says, "That's the only way you can get back to your TARDIS." So presumably that thing will send them back to the Ark, which is where the TARDIS is.
Yeah.
Use it when you are finished, but your mission is to go back to the creation of the Daleks and learn some crucial information that could help us, or at least that we could give to others to help them defeat them in the future. So it's not a Terminator situation.
Destroy all humans.
Yeah, and it's not a Terminator situation of like
destroy all Khalids.
Thals even, or Mutos. No, it's not
That's a stupid word.
It's not a Terminator thing of like go back and stop this from happening. It's go back and find something you can use.
Yeah, learn.
That we may not have learned since. And the Doctor's like, oh, bollocks, okay. But he understands the weight of it and he's like, right, fine. So we meet the Khalids, who... we meet the Thals, who the last time we saw them was in the Daleks, where they were all blonde and wore tunics and hung out in the jungle and all that shite.
All very attractive.
Yeah. Classic Terry Nation civilized tribe characters.
Obviously living in the jungle. With full faces of makeup and bronzer.
And then, of course, we meet the Khalids. Both factions of the species are pretty much identical. It's just the way that their bases are dealing with the situation. Because we learn that the Khalids are creating a rocket with a nuclear point that they're going to fire at the Thals are creating that. Sorry, they're going to fire at the Khalid dome, and the Khalids are putting all of their energy and resources into their scientific division to come up with new and effective ways to kill the Thals. Meanwhile, there are Mutos caught in between, people who have been affected by the experimentation and the blast radius, who have been pushed out by society and live basically in the no man's land between the two main civilizations, who, as we learn, aren't horrific monsters or flesh-eating creatures. They're just
misunderstood.
They're in pain. They're wounded and they need help. Because Sarah spends a lot of her story with them. The Doctor goes back and forth between both camps. Now, this is written by Terry Nation, so when we went in, and for those who watched the previous ones of these, you were like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, Daleks! How surprising!
And the last time you really kind of enjoyed them was probably William's era, wasn't it? I'm gonna say, the first Patrick story you liked, didn't you? Power of the Daleks. Where it was the three dead ones inside that ship, and there was the one that was like, I am your servant. It was.
Oh, yeah, that was good, because that was different.
Yeah.
But, the one that was in London, which one was that? Where the Dalek comes out of the water.
That's way earlier. That's Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. You like the chase?
Oh, yeah.
With them in the fun fair and fighting the mechanoids?
Yeah, but not because...
Yes! Giving them a cuddle.
Not because of the Daleks, though. I like the mechanoids. And I like that they went to a horror house that was very poor.
But at the same time has a Frankenstein's monster capable of lifting a Dalek above his head.
Yeah.
And this sort of subtle implications that they're actual monsters, which is like, wait, is this a fun fair on Earth?
What?
Or are they in like some kind of futuristic thing? Or what is this? It's weird. I love it. But you weren't overly keen on the three John era stories of the Daleks. Like, you like the Ogrons, or as you call them,
Oogles.
And you like draconian political stuff that led into that.
Yeah.
And you like Joe dealing with them and stuff, but
I just like Joe.
You're bored of Terry Nation.
Yeah, because he just does all the same.
Well, when Terry Nation's forced to not write, here are the Daleks, here's the jungle.
Oh, look, it's the
When
Daleks.
he's forced to write a story about war, which goes back to where they came from as an allegory in the first place.
I think that's a very interesting place to come from.
Spoiler alert, you like this story a lot.
It is, yeah.
Do you think it's because of that? Because it's like, this is about the core of why these things are scary.
Yeah, it was the very beginning. It wasn't just like, oh, Daleks, scary.
Yeah.
It was, the Daleks aren't a thing yet. Oh, these are the people that turn into the Daleks. This is the person that turned them into the Daleks.
It's back
Here's
to
the very early
the
Daleks.
whole racial purity, Nazi metaphor
very,
thing.
very, very Nazi vibes.
I mean, the Khaleds and the Thals at this point in time have no... The governments of both, it turns out, actually are willing to talk, but the people that are fighting are like, nope, wipe them out, get rid of them, and there's some underhanded shit, there's some double-crossing, there's some double-crossing going on between societies.
It's very... It echoes society in real life.
We learn that the bomb is going to hit the Khaled dome, wiping out the majority of the Khaled populace, and you only realise toward the end of the story, that's why the labs aren't in the dome. Mm-hmm. That's why they're away in an underground location. Not because they've, it's just because, we need to be safe, but because one of them in particular knew it was going to go this way, and that's fine, because the more mutated members of their race, the better. Because this is, of course, the story that introduces Bob Ross, our favourite painter.
Yeah! He was a surprise.
Turns out the Daleks were a happy little accident.
Oh!
I can't even pretend. It's Davros. Little Davros, played by... It's Michael Wisher in it, as the first Davros. Absolutely phenomenal performance. Yeah. Proper spooky. Him and Nida.
Good.
Him and Nida in particular. I like the head of the science team as well, the one who sort of starts to turn around on it and is tries to help our heroes figure something out.
That was the character where you make a connection with. Can I say spoiler?
Yeah, of course you can. It's like a 40-year-old piece of television.
They kill him.
Kill the scientist man.
And you feel you're like, oh, they helped the Doctor. That's fab.
I like the idea that there's political unrest, especially when the Khaled government find out what Davros is doing. There are a lot of people who don't side with him. Some people side with him because they're frightened of what he's capable of. Yeah. Some people side with him because they're like, yeah, you're right, we should. Because ultimately Davros isn't about winning a war. His thing is survival of his species. But his belief is that to survive, everything else has to be seen as inferior. That way they can strive and succeed and find new ways to survive merely by killing or imprisoning everything around them. He's foreseen...
Nazis.
He's foreseen that the Khaled's final form will be something hideously mutated because of a result of the war. And no one ever goes out and flat out says it, but Davros is the only person who looks like Davros.
Yeah.
And of course the implication is he's been mutating, either through his studies or through the war. Maybe he was hit by something earlier in the war that has forced him to look for ways to survive. It's never outright said, but it's clear just from his design that it's like he's seen some shit.
Yeah, he's been through
something that will have made him go, "This is what I need to do."
I kind of envisioned it as he's extending his life.
In a way, well, yeah, not just him, but
not due to old age. I mean, he's been through some stuff. He's obviously been hurt. He's been damaged, but he's rebuilding himself.
He's got that neck brace.
Yeah.
I love the frame thing in the back of his head. It's a great choice.
Really, but he's altering himself, making himself better. He's got some sick wheels, and then I kind of took it as he's realised that he can do this. He can change things and make him more powerful and better. I'll keep doing this and see where it goes. That's what I kind of.
He's looked forward to the next logical step as far as he's concerned, which is because the Daleks are sold to the Khaled people as battle tanks, as mobility machines, things for them to get around in safety, to traverse the battlefield to win the war. But really, he's like, no, I'm building your home. Mm. I'm building where you are all going to live and operate and fight in from now on. The first Dalek we see is just being given a test run in some ruins outside of the dome. Oh, sorry. In some ruins outside of the dome. And it's wordless. It blows up some targets. Sarah Jane recognises it because obviously she met them in Death to the Daleks the previous year. She's aware of what they can do, and to see it the way they frame it, they make them scary. And it's down to Liz Sladen's reaction. It's down to the fact that it doesn't speak, and they just test it, and it's right, follow along, and off it goes. And then when they bring one out for that demonstration, it almost feels... It's the first time in a while with the Daleks where I've felt kind of excited to see them. Because you're like, oh, here it is at the beginning. And obviously everyone there thinks, oh, it's an automated thing. It's like, no, well, they don't know that there's something inside it.
Hey.
And there's going to be... Oh, it's voice controlled, but it's likely there's something inside it. Because by the end, when there's like a group of them, there's stuff inside them. Davros has been mutating animals for years to see where this research will take him.
Yeah.
So we have like the horrible like lungs with fleshy stringy bits that try to like bite Tom, which doesn't look very good, but is still kind of body horror.
The thought of it
is
grim.
We have the creatures, like there's a big lizard thing that you see from the vent when Harry and the Doctor are trying to scurry out.
That's kind of scary.
The big clams, like the sort of mutated mollusks.
That was not so scary.
Just made me think of Batman. You've ever seen the cliffhanger where like Robin or whatever's about to be eaten by a giant clam?
No, but I'm not even like
surprised
by that concept.
You're like, of course that's one of their stories.
It was it was pretty horrific. This was a dark Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, it was.
The barracks that they end up in. Whose side is it? Is it the Khaled side or the
Davros' side?
At the very, very beginning, where there's lots of bodies.
Oh, then the trenches. The trenches.
The trenches.
The
cute version. Of
I think, if I remember correctly, it's a Thal.
Thal side.
Thal's thingy. The corpses are all Thals.
They have their own men propped up, dead, against the side of the trenches to make it look as if there are people there that are armed and ready to take them down.
Why is that disturbing? Because that's a thing that people do in war.
And
that is a thing that has been done in trench warfare in times gone by.
Horrific, and I really do like that. I'm sorry, I've just seen the flash. It's made me laugh again. Sorry.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, talking about what?
Wow.
I really do like how Doctor Who uses themes that are happening in real life. I think that's really cool.
Like going back to the core of the show. This is definitely, we're far removed from Hartnell's, like, this is either a historical education or a scientific lesson. We're away from that now. But it's using history to tell a story.
Yeah. And to make a comment, I find.
Yeah.
A very subtle one, but it makes a comment.
Subtle until the end, when Davros' raison d'etre is just laid out flat. You're like, these are the Nazis. These are the Nazis.
Also, one of the guys on the Khaled side, one of the commanders, is... What's it from Hello Hello?
One of the guys from Hello Hello, yeah.
And he's a Nazi in it.
Yeah. So there you go.
He's like, what?
So there you go.
Everything's a circle. What do you think? Not a Nazi.
What do you think of Michael Wisher? Davros.
Yeah, I know. He was very good.
Creepy, right?
Very creepy.
Creepy. And
Creepy Tom.
No, creepy Tom. Oh, Creepy Tom. Howard. I'd like to see your cock and balls.
Thank you for your side picture of your cock and balls.
Side picture of your cock and balls.
How many shows have we talked about that Doctor Who? Anyway,
it's good, right?
Yeah. There was one...
A lot of acting with just his lips and his hand.
I found it a bit...
That sounds wrong.
AA? What have we been watching? What was that? Throwing up?
Yes, I was throwing up. Because if I sensually suck my finger, it's going to get photoshopped.
Ew, stop. No. Yeah, by me.
Good luck.
I can't Photoshop.
You can't even open Paint.
I can't use a laptop. Anyway, what was I saying?
Michael Wisher's performance as Davros. Dave Ross.
Yes, Dave Ross. He was fabulous. I think his voice was great.
Because the digital effect, the electronic effect is very subtle.
Very subtle, yeah.
Yeah.
But the only thing was, sometimes he was pushing himself around with his feet, and you could tell.
Oh, there was one shot where you went,
moving.
You said, it's the Flintstones. You can't see the legs, but it's like you can tell from the way he's moved, it's like being on an office chair.
The way his upper half is moving.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really funny, and it took me out of it for a minute. It was by the funny side.
What do you think about his scenes between him and Tom? Some pretty meaty stuff in there.
Doesn't Tom, pass out again in this?
Not in these scenes. Because he interrogates the Doctor once he learns the Doctor is a time traveller. Because he's like, that time travel does not exist. but perhaps it does, and I'm not going to pretend it doesn't. I'm going to entertain this theory. Because if it does, that means you're aware of the Daleks, and we succeed. And the Doctor's like, not every time. And he's like, right, well, I'm going to kill your friends in front of you unless you tell me about every Dalek defeat and exactly how it happened. Yeah. That's my favourite part of the story, because the stakes of that are suddenly like, oh, like we haven't really had an enemy who's like, you do time travel? Well, alright, I'm going to use this to my advantage. Whereas these guys are like, yeah, alright. Nida, turn the machine on and kill his friends. Right, we're going to kill your friends, or you're going to tell us everything we need to know so I can build in the stuff that will stop these defeats from ever happening. So not only will the Daleks be more powerful, Davros will have rewritten history as we know it going forward. That's
a bit of a moral conundrum, isn't it? Because it's like, would you let your friends die over... Oh, they discuss it, don't they? Over... Well, not quite the friends dying, but over destroying the Daleks and stopping them from overcoming. But he says... he talks about how people have come together.
Yeah, well, the famous... One of the two sort of big famous moments in this where they've rigged up the thing, he's got the wire, and it can blow up the lab where the mutants are and kill them. And he's like, but do I have the right? He's like, if I kill them, I am no better than the thing we are trying to destroy. It's like, I'm no better than them if I do this. It's not my choice.
Many planets and civilizations come together and join forces to defeat the Daleks in the future.
And protect themselves and each other from the Daleks.
And they create bonds and stuff, and it's like, can I stop that from happening? Can I destroy that? Is it worth it? And it's like, oh, damn.
And Sarah's kind of adamant because she's seen the horrors now, and she's sort of like, you can't question this. How can you be questioning this?
I've got an itch on my mouth.
She's like, how can you even question this? Because he goes like, but I do, doesn't he? He's like, it's the whole thing of like, this isn't my decision. And that's not what they were sent there to do. But of course, things are in the shit. Now, they managed to get hold of the tape because they take Nida hostage. They managed to get hold of the tape and they destroy it with a Dalek ray gun, which is great. But you have that whole discussion where the Doctor's trying to find...
How did they work it?
It was probably because it was a prototype thing, wasn't it? So probably a trigger system or something. And of course, they come back. That sort of visual comes back in Series 3 of the Modern Show when the Dalek, the brainwashed guys in New York, all the grunts have been given the Dalek ray guns as a Tommy gun, which is both a great and hilarious idea. Because it's a great idea, but it looks ridiculous.
I can't wait to get to that episode. Isn't that weird that that's an episode and not a story? It's a story, but it's one episode.
Two-part.
Well, okay, yeah. That's fair. That's going to be really weird.
Yeah, we're going to fly through seasons when we get to the Monroe. We're going to fly through seasons when we get to the late 80s. But that stuff is really cool. I like the way that they managed to get that, and it just becomes this thing of, look, we can't do anything. We need the time ring. We just need to get out of here. And it keeps eluding them, and the political and military interests of everyone around them keeps stopping them from doing what they need to do to just get the hell out of there. But also that scene with the Doctor is just trying to measure Davros's morality. He's like, you realise what you're going to unleash on the universe? Davros is like, yes, my wonderful creation. He's like, no, but think about it. It's like, because it's the whole metaphor, isn't it? If you had a vial that contained the deadliest toxin known to man, and it was airborne and could kill everything within a certain mile radius, within minutes, if you had that in your hand, would you unleash that on the world? And Davros is like, because he's literally, like, with his one decrepit little claw, you can tell he's visualising it because he's just kind of holding his hand up, and it's some superb acting from behind a load of latex.
Yeah, definitely.
And the whole thing of like, yeah, I would.
He gets really excited
I would
about
do it, and he gets it. You know that I would do it, which we quote all the time, and you had no idea what it was from. And you know he's got a raging hard on underneath his little console.
Yeah, really does.
Because he's like, yeah, I would. That power would set me up amongst the gods. And it's like, Jesus, okay.
Ooh, this is all a power play. Cool.
Okay, you are space Hitler, you are the space Nazi. It's official. The Doctor has, at that point, no question as to Davros's morality. He cannot change him. Which is why then he nearly goes and blows up the lab. But then he's like, oh, no, this is wrong. You, spoiler alert for a 40-year-old story, you did not expect Davros to die in this story.
No, I didn't.
Why didn't thou?
Because he comes back.
Yeah, he does.
Other things. But that must
He comes back many times. We see him at least 6 more times.
Oh, sure.
One with Tom, one with Peter, one with Colin, one with Sylvester,
But
one with David, and one with Peter C.
Obviously, in different points in time.
Mm-hmm.
But he was killed by his own creation.
None of them would be from before now, would they? Doesn't make any sense. Daleks aren't created yet.
Wait.
And he doesn't know about time travel.
I'm confused.
Well, just you wait. But I love that scene at the end where, like, there is now a small fleet of them in the lab with the mutants inside, and the production line begins creating more, and he's like, I did not give that order. And they go, one of them goes, no, I did. And it's the first time they, like, speak properly as well. Mm-hmm. This is in the last, like, 5 minutes.
They've got their own.
I gave the order, and he's like, no, hang on. You don't do that. I created you. I'm in charge, yeah. And with my own hands, or in Davros' case, with a claw. And the Daleks are like, no, like our objective is to conquer all life and destroy all the species and purify the universe.
Kill all humans.
Like, that's the mission.
Yeah, I've said that about 3 times.
Yeah, so it keeps, right? So sometimes you really want to play the destroy all humans games.
No, I just really want to watch Futurama.
Oh, God.
That's another show. Ding, ding.
So, when Davros tries to stop them, because he suddenly lost control of his creation, classic sort of Frankenstein kind of morality play thing, they shoot him. And he's dead.
He's dead.
And the story ends with them using the time ring as they spin off casually into space in a shot that completely undermines the last 5 minutes. But what did we think of Genesis of the Daleks?
That was just them 100% just rolling on the floor.
Ah, goodbye. Come along, Daddy.
Not quite, what's its butt.
Oh God, the mind robber, the TARDIS console spinning all on its own. What was it? That was Zoe.
Zoe, that was it, yeah. It was just like,
I think it was at that point, yeah.
Ass! In that amazing jumpsuit. I enjoyed it.
Is it the best Dalek
story? I thought it was
story?
Very dark.
So far. Wait till we get to 18.
It's not my favourite Dalek
Is that still
story.
Dalek Invasion of Earth?
Yeah.
Fair enough. With the Robo-Men.
Because that
and
is...
the engine at the centre of the Earth. God, the scenes with the tower climbing up the thing with the rocket. I'd forgotten about that. Sarah Jane and the guys from the mutant colony, like, climbing up the rocket. The way they're treated, the way that guy at the top's like, I could just drop you. Yeah. It's horrible.
Oh, he's horrid. Yeah.
And that's a Thal. Like, they make a big point of saying both of these sides
are not nice
people. Like, the ones you guys remember in the future, of course they're nice. Like, they've begun again as a civilization. Yeah. But at this point, no one is without sin.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that it was dark. I think it was...
Dark Cross.
I think it kind of needed it. I'm sorry, Min.
Considering it was a Dalek story, going back to the core idea and the core metaphor definitely helps. Genesis the Daleks. Number one Doctor Who story 1,000,000 times by 1,000,000 people in 1,000,000 different magazine polls till a few years ago when they started actually picking and choosing different things.
It was a reek gooden.
Now, from one reek gooden
to a reed stinker.
To a bit of a stinker. Series finale, as it were. Revenge of the Cybermen.
I think they made a mistake making this the last one. Should have made the...
they don't do it... Back then, they didn't really do season finales. They just told stories.
How bizarre.
But,
how bizarre.
I think with this one, they were just banking on the Cybermen being enough to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Pros. The Cybermen look great in this. I really like the costume. It's they've got the jumpsuit style of like the invasion ones from when we last saw them properly, but the helmet is more rounded and more interesting. I think this is the helmet that we see in Dalek, in Von Statten's museum when he first rocks up, and there's a Cyberman helmet in the case. I think it's one of these ones, but we'll double check when we get there.
I think the Cybermen have always looked cool, to be honest. In every,
it's not really been a good design, has there?
No, I think. I mean, the first ones, don't get me wrong, were very homemade, Blue Peter, very.
Yeah, but there's still kind of the underlying horror of that's a human face under what the 12th Doctor's era then clarifies as bandages. It's not just a balaclava, it's not their costume, it's bandages over their face.
Jeez.
Which is like...
I'm just looking at them now, they're very scary.
Spooky little buggers. But like these guys look great. The gun in the forehead is quite a cool idea. We only see them use it once.
Is it in the forehead or was it on the shoulder?
It's the gun's in the forehead. And they control it from
their hips.
There's something on the chest here where they all went like that. And
that's not your chest, honey.
The chest unit, sorry.
And we need to go back to school.
Oh god! But they've got that, and that's kind of cool. But we only really see them use it once, and if I remember correctly, that's it. No, the Cyberman has that going forward, so that's the end of that one.
They've still. This feels very much like this character feels that they've not polished it, and it's taking them forever to find the version that they want to keep going because it changes like.
Oh yeah, well, which is explained.
Is this something maybe that is one of the most.
The Cybermen have the most design changes over the course of the show.
Oh, so can I just go back to...
I mean, even in the modern iteration, they've had 2 distinct designs in the modern iteration.
Can I just go back to Genesis the Daleks a second?
Yeah.
Just talking about the way that things look. I kind of wanted there to be a more rustic-looking Dalek, so not a polished pyramid. This is exactly what they look like the whole time. We're not going to change it at all.
Well,
I wanted there to be like a prototype that looked a bit more shoddy.
Well, it's gunmetal grey and black, but when the Daleks are a civilization that haven't quite left Skaro yet, but are researching it, when we meet them in the Daleks, the first time they appear, they are, as we now know from colour photography and merchandise and all this, they're bright silver and blue. So when you say more rustic, you kind of get that in a way.
Yeah, that's literally just
they look like boring weapons.
That's the colour.
Whereas they look like funky sci-fi monsters later on with a slightly more concise design. And they try to make it better for the environment because they become creatures motivated by static electricity. So
you're trying to make a good point about the Daleks?
Yeah, because the Daleks are cool antagonists.
But I just wanted there to be a less shiny version of the Daleks.
That's what you mean.
Corrugated card and spray paint.
The industrial zone.
Duct tape. That's another show. Ding, ding.
Mumsy will be cross. That's now 2 shows.
There's not. There's been several. Sorry. Yeah. So go back to Cybermen.
No, I meant 2 just then. Technically, Crystal Maze and Dick and Dom in the Bungalow.
There you go. Crystal look.
So they look pretty cool. The Cybermat is fucking massive.
It is huge.
It looks like it could actually tackle people, which it does a few times.
It looks silly.
The virus they put out.
How did it get up there?
We do it on the pros. The virus they put out looks really cool because they use some of that subtle chroma key effect where they make the red like glow
that
on people's
really
faces.
Cool, actually. How did they do that?
It'd be green or blue paint. It'd be chroma key.
Oh, that looked very.
That's a clever use of chroma key.
Yeah, it was. It looked very. Good.
They've done similar stuff in previous stories during John's era.
Right. Obviously, wasn't paying attention. Green.
So there was that. The stuff on what's the bloody planet of gold called again? Voga. The use of, I think it's Wookiee Hole, but I might be wrong. The stuff in the caves looks quite cool. The continuing thing of the transmat, because they arrive there. That's a cool idea. They arrive on what will be the Ark way earlier than when it becomes the Ark. So the TARDIS is now automatically trying to find them, and eventually they'll sync up.
That's very cool. So they're kind of like, oh, we're here. Wait.
Oh, bollocks. We've got to wait a bit. Right. I hope no horrible adventure occurs for the next 2 days. I like the Vogan's citadel. It looks cool. We, of course, get a design that the production likes so much they bring back later as the Seal of Razalon. I think the Elder and main military, what have you, Vogons, aren't they? I think so. I can't remember.
I recognise the name.
They look really cool. The ones with the facial hair look really cool.
Yeah, they do.
And that's it for pros. This is a shit remake of the Ark in Space.
I liked.
It's a remake of a story from 3 stories ago, and it's crap.
It is. I did like the 2 guys that they found. That were I don't know how to describe them. They were 2 scientists, the ones that we met. When you find out about the virus.
Yeah.
And there's the bad guy who's like
the one who's a double crosser. Bit with the bit where the doctor discovers the machine he's using to send transmissions in his room, then he electrifies the floor.
Yeah.
And he has to get out without being killed.
The other 2.
Yeah, the 2 who spend most of the story
older
with.
Guys.
The 2 older fellas who are strapped to bombs the Doctor does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought they were good. I liked that they weren't super young,
it was
healthy,
different.
fit. ooh, I could outrun these monsters.
They're maintaining the base because a shitload of people have died of this mystery virus.
I like them.
And they're trying to, them and their doctor and whatnot, they're trying to work on it and figure it out because their doctor, the doctor ends up dying.
Yeah.
Because if you come into contact with, they believe it's if they come into contact with the people or something from the other section, it's like, nope, there is a metal slug vampire thing biting you and infecting you. I love the idea that Sarah Jane gets infected, but because it's something that like shifts your atoms, the doctor's like, get her in the teleport now. Because if we do it now, it'll hopefully just reset, like, you know, to go to the way that works is it's the Star Trek logic of you go down to atoms and then you reappear at the other end. So hopefully it'll push the virus out, and it works. It's like, great! So if anyone gets infected, we can do this.
But then they turn the power off, don't they?
Yeah, oh yeah, they have to try and fix it, because they nearly lose her, don't they? They nearly lose her. I like the idea that the Cybermen have found that they have a weakness, and they're like, right, let's destroy the source of the weakness. Or at least take command of it for ourselves.
What was it?
But I hate the fact that it's gold. Like,
why?
Why? And the doctor's like, gold kills them. Everyone
Isn't
knows
that an Earth mineral?
I don't remember that being mentioned in any previous story.
Is it
and if it is, I don't remember it being mentioned in a way where it was pivotal information.
Why is that?
Apparently gold hurts them. And Voga, which is a planetoid, it's a meteor with civilizations living inside it, which is a cool idea. It's made of gold, it's got gold thingies. Apparently they've been at war with the Cybermen for centuries. So a lot of time has passed with the Cybermen around, because the Cybermen have been trying to take them out. And this is a small sting operation of, I think it's in the end there's only like 4 Cybermen involved in this. There's 3 silver ones and the Cyber Leader, who like to grab things and shake them a bit.
Yeah. Oh, he proper shook him, didn't he?
Because cool, because like, a minute later, one of them like pulls Sarah Jane up by her feet, and obviously from a performance point of view, it's like, oh, she's sprung up with it, but it's a shockingly quick, like oh my god,
pulled her up.
Yeah, but it's undercut by the fact that for the prior 20 seconds, one of them's just shaking Tom's shoulders
really violently.
So bloody weird.
It looks funny though.
Harry
is obviously okay.
Harry and Sarah Jane aren't given much exciting to do in this. There's a lot of them being captured. There's a lot of them sneaking around, and I just, in a way that just made me feel a bit annoyed for Liz and Ian. It's like, give them something to do, for Pete's sake. Although we do get one of the most fun Harry moments where he sees the Doctor's unconscious and he tries to like get the thing off of him to help him get up, not realizing that it's a bomb. And the other 2 stop him. It doesn't quite work. The Doctor wakes up and he's like, "Wait, you're trying to take the whatever off?" And he's like, "Yes, of course." He's like, "Harry Sullivan is an imbecile!" Faints.
That was funny.
Which is just a wonderfully mad delivery. I love that. I love that the Doctor is kind of like, I admire Harry, but I could totally do without him in my life. Yeah, but which is fun to watch. It doesn't come across as nasty because Ian Martin and Tom Baker just have such a lovely, subtle chemistry. So much so that off set, off camera, they were writing a film together, which never got made. It was about Doctor Who fighting the devil.
Wow,
and it was called, well, you eventually you will, a few times in different versions. But it was called Doctor Who Meets Scratchman, which, as you know, finally got turned into a book, because it was a screenplay sat around forever, so Tom Baker teamed up with an author and released it as a book earlier this year. So she's dozing, yeah. So, you know, we have the story, and it is dedicated at the top to Ian Martin. It says that the story is by Tom Baker and Ian Martin.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, and they clearly enjoyed each other's company so much, but that makes it extra sad when you realise he's only in one more story. So, yeah.
Well, he is a bit pointless.
Which is weird, because
it's a bit random coming in.
It's not like Dodo, he sort of go, they don't really give him much to do in most of his stories. It's like they give him a lot to do, but he just kind of feels superfluous to the functions of the story itself.
Yeah, it feels like he missed something.
And he's not a bad character at all.
No.
And he's played very well. He's very funny, and you know, he's a bit of an arrogant dick, and he doesn't really realise it. But just, you know, It's a bit of a damp squib to end the series on. It has its moments, Revenge of the Cybermen, but it's a bit of a disservice to the Cybermen who we haven't seen since Pat. Like, we had a glimpse of one in a vision in John's era, but we haven't had a Cyberman story since Paddy. And we won't have another Cyberman story now until Peter Davison.
Wow.
So it sort of seems, that this is their story during the iconic Tom Baker's run. And it's a bit of a damp squib. It's a remake of 3 stories ago, and it's nowhere near as good. So, also you hated their voices, didn't you?
Really hate them. I mean, the previous 2... Has there just been 2?
So 2 versions of the voice.
Yeah, I enjoyed both of those way more than I liked this.
So you would have enjoyed it if they spoke like this.
Yeah, it's scary. No one where they talk like this.
Sorry, Alan Rickman? Do it again. Just do me a favour, just say, and even put a stopper in death in your Cyberman voice.
And even put a stopper in death.
That is an uncanny Professor Snape, and you should be very proud of yourself.
Wow! JK, if you ever need some pickup lines for...
Pickup lines for Snape?
Something.
Oh, but he just loved Lily, though. Piss off, he was still a villain and abusive. So, Doctor Who, Season 12.
Always.
Oh, God. No.
What?
No, I hate the idea that Snape's a sympathetic character. He isn't. He's a horrible person. He had a sympathetic motivation, but he's a horrible person.
Of course he was a horrible person.
Well, he was a double agent.
In the end.
Yeah, there you go. Robot. Fun.
Yeah.
Ark in space. Pretty damn great.
Yeah.
Minus the wooden wobbling around. Sontaran Experiment. Straight to the point. Cool. Just as the Daleks. There's a reason why people think this is one of the greatest ones ever told.
It was great.
And Revenge of the Cybermen happened. What do you guys think of Season 12? Are you annoyed that we're not watching it on the Blu-ray collector's set? If you are, buy it for me.
Us. Us?
Me?
We're a couple.
Yeah, but who's going to have to make the shelf space?
We can do it together.
Can we?
No, because you'll just shout at me and tell me I'm doing things wrong.
I am pedantic. Shallow and pedantic. Right, so, if you guys like Season 12...
That's another show, ding ding.
Let us know down below what is your favourite Season 12 story and why is it Genesis of the Daleks. We will see you all again in the new year. Goodbye, my dears.
End of Hagrid's.